Hi everyone, I'm Becky. Welcome to Between World. Today is the first podcast I have recorded. I feel very happy, very excited, and also very fulfilled. This sense of fulfillment comes from thinking that in the time ahead, there will be many people who have experiences similar to mine and pursue the same goals. Through the experiences and stories I share, they can come to know me, and through sound, we can come to understand one another's inner worlds. This way of building connection makes me feel both curious and deeply happy. Recently, I began to have the idea of starting a podcast. Ever since this idea appeared, it has become unstoppable. I know myself very well. When certain thoughts arise in my mind and the sense of inspiration becomes stronger and stronger, I know that I must do it. For me, what I see are never problems or challenges, but potential and opportunities that excite me. At this moment, I feel the same state of mind and emotion. So why do I want to make a podcast? And what goals and expectations do I have next? What do I hope to gain from doing this? First of all, I want people who share the same aspirations with me in the future, or those who listen to this podcast, to truly understand why I want to do this and how I hope to do it. At the beginning, it will certainly start with my friends around me, with more sharing and interaction. I am an entrepreneur. From 2015 until now, 10 years have passed. If I were to summarize these 10 years in one short sentence, it would be this. I transformed from traditional manufacturing into a European local brand, moving from the very end of the entire international supply chain to the very front. This journey took 10 years. During these 10 years, I have had many experiences and many stories. Some time ago, I suddenly realized that I had not fully shared all of my experiences and stories with anyone, because time was limited and perhaps the right moment had not yet arrived. I was once unaware that a single story, a single experience, or even a few words could light a path for someone else's life. I am someone who walked the entrepreneurial path from zero, and along the way I received illumination, support, and help from many people. I often feel that I am such a fortunate and happy person. I am someone nourished by relationships, who has felt the happiness brought by life energy and quality. I am a beneficiary. I began to think that if my experiences and stories could also have an impact on others, then this energy and love should be passed on. These subconscious thoughts have influenced and motivated me to do this, especially during these 10 years of moving from manufacturing to overseas local brand terminals. Every path and every turning point was personally experienced by me. What I possess from this 10-year entrepreneurial journey and from moving from the end of the supply chain to the front is not methodology or theory, but experience gained through real practice. Rather than people telling me that I am successful, I would say that these 10 years have made me more determined to continue walking this path. To be honest, I have never thought about whether it is successful. I believe there are 2 points in this process. The first point is, how do we define success? If the place we want to reach is still farther than where we are now, then there is ultimately no end point and no definition of success, because we are always on the road. In my entrepreneurial path, career, and life, what I feel is that I am just getting started. The second point is that rather than talking about success, to be honest, over the past 10 years I have made many mistakes. At certain moments when mistakes happened, I found it difficult to accept and forgive myself. I placed stricter demands on myself, believing that as a CEO and entrepreneur, my decisions affected the company, partners, suppliers, and even my family. But as I continued to experience and move forward through real practice, I found that my mindset and awareness were constantly changing. During a phone call with a friend this morning, he said, One sentence. Mistakes are part of being right. Later in our conversation, we said that there is never absolute right or wrong. We are constantly trial and error, constantly improving and moving forward dynamically. Whether for companies or individuals, there will always be trial and error and mistakes. Over these 10 years, because of these so-called mistakes, I gained many insights and realizations, especially in understanding markets, and particularly in how cross-border companies enter markets and influence local customers' values. I have very deep and real experiences and feelings. At the same time, I hope to share the pitfalls I have encountered and the mistakes I have made, so that friends on similar entrepreneurial paths can have references and lessons to learn from. For a company and for individuals, growth is a continuous process of adjustment and correction. There is no absolute avoidance of mistakes and no absolute perfection, only faster adjustment or a lower probability of making mistakes. Up to now, when I look back, I see that when our mindset is relatively positive, it ultimately benefits us. What is good or bad is often just a conclusion along a timeline. In the long run, these 10 years have become the most precious wealth and gift of my life and career. Therefore, from now on, I want to share this gift with the people around me and with many entrepreneurs who come from China's manufacturing industry and Chinese markets, and are on the path of going overseas and localizing. My 10-year journey has 3 very important milestones. The first stage was my path from 0 to 1 in entrepreneurship. The scenes and stories I experienced had a profound impact on my future decisions, mindset, and views on life and many things. The second stage, although it cannot yet be called from 1 to 10, did cross beyond 1. At that time, our company in Shenzhen had entered a relatively comfortable and stable second stage. When I look back on that period, it was relatively comfortable and at ease. But it was precisely during this stage that both my personal growth and the company's growth were relatively slow. The third stage was another 0 to 1 in 2022. After I came to the Netherlands and relocated the company office there, I once again entered a stage of starting from 0. However, this inner journey was completely different from my 0 to 1 experience in China in 2015. There are 2 important differences. The first difference is a Chinese saying, "It is easy to go from frugality to comfort, but difficult to go from comfort back to frugality." During my years of entrepreneurship in Shenzhen, as mentioned earlier, I had already entered a relatively comfortable stage. Then, coming to the Netherlands, how to return to 0 and start again was truly a test of mindset for the founder, the CEO, and even the entire team. In this process, I deeply felt the energy of individuals and teams. And on a larger level, I even sense the infinite potential and energy of life and humanity. There are many inner journey stories in this stage, which I will break down and share in the future. The second difference is that one of the main topics I will share in the future is how to do localization in cross-border operations. For example, when I first arrived in the Netherlands, I had no network, no resources, and no understanding of regulations or the market. How I moved from 0 to 1 and achieved small breakthroughs was completely different from my experiences in familiar China and Shenzhen. This is also something many people are realizing today. If Chinese companies want to globalize, localization must come first. What exactly does localization mean? It means deeply understanding local cultural values and local users' culture. Only then can we truly take root and do business there. In the future, I will continue to review my past 3 years of 0 to 1 experiences in the Netherlands and continue to update my ongoing localization journey here. My original intention is simple. After walking that path, I want to tell those who come after me what the path looked like. What I can offer is to share my most real experiences and stories honestly. At the same time, I also see the challenges Chinese companies face when going overseas. But I believe that the coming years will also be an opportunity for global supply chain restructuring. In this moment, I believe more companies and entrepreneurs similar to me will embark on this path. How to localize and how to globalize. This is why I want to do this. The second thing I want to share is how I will do this going forward. In recent years, I have been meditating continuously and practicing self-awareness. In this process, I have had some very interesting discoveries about myself. My background is that I grew up in a family with many rules and frameworks. So for the past 30 years, I rarely crossed many moral standards and boundaries. Looking back, this also benefited me greatly before my worldview and values were fully formed. This external structure helped me develop discipline and basic cognition. But in recent years, as I have invested much energy and effort into self-awareness, my frameworks have gradually fallen away. Most amazingly, I can no longer even find the original ones. Why do I want to share this inner journey? Because it will influence the stories and experiences I share in the future. I find it difficult to share pure knowledge points or methodologies. I can only share my experiences. How each person makes choices and decisions. The steering wheel is in each person's own hands. Many of my changes in cognition and behavior were deeply influenced by my teacher, Thomas Lamb, not because he taught me theories or methods, but through years of learning and interaction. After that, when I do not fully understand another person's context and experiences, I cannot give advice or definitions. I now focus more on listening, sharing perspectives, and exchanging feedback. I will continue to share my real experiences and stories. I am not a definition nor a methodology. I am simply a channel for sharing. I hope to receive feedback because feedback creates an energy loop that allows ideas and creativity to circulate. This is my first podcast. Thank you sincerely to everyone listening. I invite you to join me in co-creating this journey. I believe that in the end, we are all participants and beneficiaries. I wish you a beautiful day. I am Becky. Thank you for listening.